Hello, everyone. Jason Spangler here, the SanteeSwapper. Man, it's been a minute. I need to apologize for missing all these weeks of doing the show. I do have a very good reason. This space that you see right here has undergone some renovations. I had some issues in my warehouse, and we had drywall going up and dust everywhere, and it's been quite a month. I've also had a couple of other scouting obligations, hosting my Charlotte Traderie, and then also a Santee Lodge reunion. My lodge that I grew up in is merging away. And so we held a very, very successful reunion at the end of October. And that was a big deal that I was helping to plan a little bit on a planning committee. And so that was important to me. So now, all these weeks later, I'm going to try to get back in the groove and get some more episodes out of Scouting Hot Finds Live leading up towards the holidays, where, of course, I'll take a break just like everyone else. So, in tonight's show, let me kind of give you a preview of what we've got. Really, three things I have planned for tonight. One is, I know some of you have been waiting quite a while to find this out. We have a giveaway that has been lingering ever since episode three. And I want to make sure that we do that right here on camera so everyone will be, transparent. You'll find out who the winner is, and then I'll quickly reach out to them via email and try to tap them on the shoulder and say, hey, you won. So we'll do that probably first up tonight. Then, of course, in almost every episode, we're going to have an unboxing. And so I have an unboxing that I've already pre recorded. I have that to play and to share with you. It's actually several small collections all batched together. Then we do have a new giveaway tonight. I have another item, pulling it out of the warehouse, that I want to find a home for. Stick around and I will tell you more about that immediately after the unboxing. And then finally, the big kind of headliner, I always try to have another guest on. And so I'm excited that my guest this time is going to be Russell Smart. He attended the Charlotte Traderie that I mentioned previously, and Russell brought a fantastic display of scouting memorabilia. And so he allowed me to record a video of him at the Charlotte Traderie, interviewing him about his display, which is an incredible scouting history display of Eagle Scout memorabilia, and especially the merit badges that were required along during the last 100+ years. So that's a really cool one. You don't want to miss that. So that's basically what I have prepared for the show tonight. Just a couple of quick things I want to remind you about. So if you want to find out more about me, I do have a link tree that is at SanteeSwapper.com. What is a link tree? A link tree is essentially a little one-page website that has all of the different items that I have going on. You can learn more about my unboxing videos, my website, my Patreon group. You can learn about best hobby pages, just all of that stuff that I have going on. It's basically a quick landing page that'll let you do that. The other thing I wanted to remind everyone is you can definitely go to my website, scoutpatchcollectors.com/TOR, and I have recently updated the Traderie calendar there. I believe that it is up to date, as far as I know, through the summer. And so that's kind of a service that I try to do to the hobby, just to encourage more people to get out and attend traderies. Certainly, I host a traderie, I attend traderies myself during the year, and I think they're kind of one of the lifebloods of our hobby. And I would really encourage people to go check them out. So definitely make sure you go do that. All right. So, again, a couple of things for tonight. We are going to show you the giveaway. And so let me click over to that. So now we are over on King Sumo, and what we are trying to do tonight is we are going to give away this guy right here, this framed 1937 Jamboree patch, also with these two 1997 Jamboree patches. When I bought a collection not long ago, this was in the collection, and I thought, rather than taking this apart, it's kind of a nice display. This would make a great giveaway. And so the way it works in this King Sumo, which I'll pull back up, is that we have all these folks who have put in their name for it. And all I need to do is click on this Ready to Award, and we'll find out who the winner is. So live on the air, we have found out we have a winner. This gentleman, again, all I can see is his email address, but JF Rainer or Rainier at NCAP, you are the winner of this item, and I will reach out to him right away and make sure that he gets it. Now, don't forget, in every one of these Scouting Hot Finds Lives, I do a giveaway. I have all these interesting things that come into my warehouse from buying collections from people. And so I have an item that I will show you in just a few minutes after the unboxing. And we will have another giveaway. In fact, it's open, it's live now. So I'll share the link with you here, scoutpatchcollectors.com/prize. If you want to go there, you can sign up for today's giveaway. This giveaway runs the entire week until next week's episode. And all you have to do is put in your name and email address, just very much like what you saw a second ago, and you can enter yourself for that giveaway. But again, I'll tell you what the item is here in just a minute. So again, what I try to do in all these episodes is include an unboxing. That's probably one of the most popular things that I do on YouTube, and I want to build them into the show. So what I did here was pre-recorded an unboxing that I'm going to play for you now. Hope you enjoy it. SanteeSwapper back with another unboxing. What I'm going to do today is I have 4 boxes that are kind of small. I get collections in all the time, and some of them are really not very big. And so what I want to do is I want to capture the moment of me opening these packages. Sometimes people that send me the collections are actually kind of curious to go back and see what I thought of their collection. And I also try to dabble into a little bit of history telling and storytelling when I open these collections. So let me jump right in. So if you have watched any of my unboxings, you will know this old joke I have about 1973 Jamboree. Oh man, this was the largest Jamboree ever held. And I don't know if it's because the sort of age of people and when I'm getting their collections, but I get so much stuff from the 73 Jamboree. Actually, it was the year I was born. So I guess I should have an affinity for that. But boy, I've got a few things already from the 73 Jamboree. Glad to get it though. So as I dig in here, this got a little pile. I know it's a little off camera for you. I see there's some patches here. Here's one that's kind of pretty cool, but I don't know that that's a Boy Scout patch. But look at that, a shark with a spear through it, man. That's a pretty cool patch. A couple of Order the Arrow flaps here. This one's from New York, obviously. This one's kind of neat from the Virgin Islands. And then here's another one from New York. So I grew up as an Order the Arrow collector, so I always love to get Order the Arrow flaps in collections. This is interesting to me because this is actually tri-state area is actually headquartered in, it doesn't exist anymore, but it was headquartered in West Virginia. And my family is all from West Virginia, not from this part of West Virginia, but this tri-state area council, Lodge 457. And there's a couple flaps there. And then here's like an event patch from there as well. So as I dig through these patches and kind of find some to show you, here's another one that'll go in my collection. So this is a 1969 area conference patch. And let me just look at it here to catch 4F. So it's region 4, area F. And I collect all of the conclave and fellowship patches pre-1973. And so this will go in that collection. I do not recognize this one, so I'm pretty sure I don't have it. And what you'll see on these is they'll have the lodge that hosted the event, the conclave. In this case, it's Makaina Lodge 350. And those guys were the host at their scout camp, and then other lodges attended. This was a weekend event, obviously, for those folks who don't know. A couple of other things here. I've actually seen lots of these. This is a National Capital Area patch that they sent out for scouts going to Philmont. But I've just run across that a bunch, so I don't know if that one was very hard to get or not. Here's a couple of non-scout patches. It's always interesting when I get these in collections. You know, there is kind of a following for this kind of thing. So here is a Busch Gardens patch. And then this one is Wild Animal Kingdom Busch Gardens. They're cloth back. So these would have been things they sold, you know, just as souvenirs. So not really rare, but some people do kind of collect that kind of stuff. So we go through here. 1973 we've seen. Well, here's the 1977 Jamboree stack. So all these patches from 1977. Oh, looks like I see. Yep. So here is a 1960 Jamboree patch, except it's not the official patch. Because just like this one and just like this one, it has a plastic back. So I get these all the time from the collections of this era. People bought this reproduction set that the National BSA sold. I believe it was at a Jamboree, and lots of these floating around. Sometimes they're still in the original box, but these are reproductions. You can tell them by the plastic back. Now this one's kind of cool. Check that out. Again, from that time period,
This doesn't appear to be a true NASA patch, because normally NASA missions, they have a tradition of mentioning the names of the astronauts who were on the missions. And so this one does not have that. So I don't really know where this one would have come from. Obviously, that lunar landing in 1969 was a big event. I've heard people tell stories about it, being that, Neil Armstrong stepping foot on the surface of the moon, he's Eagle Scout, all that good stuff. But I don't know that that's a Scout patch, and I don't even know that's an official NASA patch. Here's some more OA flaps. Some of these I have seen before, and some of them are a little bit better. Certainly that one from Ohio I've seen plenty of. Cool stuff. Lincoln Trails Council. This is where you start maybe seeing the camp that the guy attended. So I've mentioned that this box or this package came from Ohio. So Camp Robert Ferris. I'm not sure about that. Saw one of those just recently. A lot of people do write me notes, and so here is a note in here. Yep. So this is from a lady named Cynthia and her husband Thomas, and so I got this from them. And then a couple more patches. Here is another. This is a fellowship patch from Lodge 70. More 1977 Jamboree. This is pretty cool. Let's take a look. Here's an Eagle Scout patch from that time period. So let me go ahead and jump over and look at this merit badge sash. Excuse me. Now here's the trick. Someone who earned these merit badges would not have gone to the 1977 National Scout Jamboree. So now I'm a little bit like, I don't know. But I will say this. In this pile, we saw this cut edge flap, which to me would be more of 1950s and then going into the 1960s, which is what this sash kind of represents. So it's possible that there's maybe two generations here. I get that a lot, where the dad was in scouting, the dad passes the stuff down to the son was in scouting, and then eventually might be time for them to reach out. So a couple of cool patches on here, like rabbit raising. That's one I don't see very often. You always look for the ones that are a little rare, maybe that not as many people have. Like here's forestry and public speaking. Those are ones that maybe aren't quite as common. Some of these other ones I think I have seen before. But this very well would be an Eagle Scout sash, and then maybe that is the patch that then matches up to it. That would make sense to me. All right, looking to see if there's any other things here that stand out. Don't see anything else, and I've got a couple other boxes to go. So let me go ahead and put all this stuff down. See the box, that's kind of the box there. Envelopes and stuff that's wrapped really well. All right, so let me pull this out. Again, not a big collection. These are small collections, and that's why I wanted to unbox them kind of together. So a couple of things here. Here's a nice little Philmont ceramic neckerchief slide. I've seen a lot of these. This bear one, not so much. And this one is dated 1968, which again, having the date on it's kind of cool and helpful. There's some patches in here, including his Philmont arrowhead. So just like today, when you go hike Philmont, you get that one arrowhead, which is kind of cool. A lot of collections that I get have people who went to Philmont. And then here's a nice, this would be a mint condition lodge flap from Matigua, but it's got some soiling. This is when sometimes when you hear people talk about box soil or something, there's just sort of some natural aging. I don't know what causes that. And then there's some other rank patches here. These all look to be in good condition. They were never sewn on a shirt. Then he has everything kind of sorted out. So this is his Matigua camp patch. And what's cool for some people in here is there's some segments in there. This always becomes a challenge for me when I get patches with segments and the segments are scattered out. So I really do appreciate the person putting that together. Then here's some more things. Well, that's pretty cool. That's a trail patch that I'm just not familiar with. Beautiful trail patch that I haven't seen before. And things like 50 miler. So I don't know if that being the same envelope, if maybe he earned the 50 miler patch on this trail. Can't speak to that. Philmont neckerchief, seen a bunch of those, got a bunch of those. So again, look at these sashes here. We see this is 1960s, and then it's kind of transitioning down here. Even though that one at the bottom is the 1960s, these could be 1970s. And here's a giveaway right here. So it wasn't until the 1970s that the Boy Scouts started having this silver border or gray border, I guess. I think it's called silver is what we collectors call it, to designate Eagle required merit badges. So that definitely tells us the date of this merit badge. I want to say it was like 69, 72. I could get that wrong, but that kind of tells us the time here. We can see this is a nice one. Then we have an ordeal sash and an OA handbook. Another Philmont, I Made It. We know this would have been 1968 based on what we've seen already. Then in this collection, we also have a God and Country Award. This exact same award is being issued and earned by Scouts today. Some patches here. Patrol patch. Guy might have been in the Beaver Patrol, which is pretty cool, I think. And then cards. So some people ask me, do you want the cards? I always say yes, because A, the other option would be they would just be thrown away. But B, they definitely tell the story. So this guy was an ordeal member in 1970. Again, reconfirms all that. Eagle Scout, 1969. I love getting that. I don't want to show the guy's name, but love getting the Eagle Scout card because that can then go with the sash and helps tell the story. So that is super cool. A couple of other things that are wrapped very carefully here. Let's just kind of peek at them. Oh, here we go. Very cool. I wasn't sure. Sometimes people do not send their Eagle medal because they're holding on to some choice things. But now to have Eagle medal, card, merit badge sash, all that goes together to tell the story. So I'll make sure that I keep all these together when I put them in the box. And then this looks to be another wall hanger. Yep. I've seen a lot of those wall hangers from Philmont, but I'm glad that it's still in good condition and taken care of. So again, very small collection. The entire collection fits like in my hand like this. But, what have we got? We've got some cool neckerchief slides. I believe this would be a Torchy. I can't quite, or is this a Magnus? There's a couple different neckerchief slide manufacturers from back in the day, and you can kind of keep track of them sometimes by looking at them. Here's one that's a ceramic one. And then we have a couple of Neil slides. This is a really common Neil slide that people have, although this one maybe not. This one says Tender, like Tenderfoot, and this one says VFC Outdoor, and so this would be a specific one made. I'll have to see if I can, Valley Forge Council would be my guess, but we'll see. Here's a little interesting neckerchief slide. They've got a couple ceramic ones like Philmont. This is another Philmont one that I see all the time. And then this little Turk's head, as I call it. And then just a couple of patches in here, some Smokey the Bear patches that aren't even Scout patches. But, these are kind of vintage Smokey the Bear patches, so some people think that's super cool. And then I thought this was cool, actually. Keychain. Sometimes I get stuff in collections. I'm like, ooh, I want to use that. So I'd be tempted to use a Smokey the Bear keychain just because it's kind of an iconic thing. When I was a kid, Smokey the Bear, like there'd be little, commercials on TV, and it was kind of still a thing. So right off the top, we can see, I mentioned Washington, but we can see here is a Washington strip, Evergreen Area Council in Washington, and then Delmarva. I'm not sure why he would have so many Delmarvas if he was from Washington. And then Governor Clinton. I believe there's a few more in here as well. If I keep digging, yeah, just one more. Union County Council. Scouts Canada. This is not unusual at all. Vancouver Coast Region. This is like a district type patch or for Canadian Scouts, and so you can imagine being in Washington State, there's going to be some crossover with Canadians. Distinguished Commissioner. Some of the stuff in the collection starts to tell you the person's career. Then we see like these Scout Training Awards that they would have earned, and so there's several of these in the case. Commissioner's Key, things like that. Here's another boxed item. Let's pull this out and see. This looks like it could be, yes it is, a Silver Beaver. I thought maybe that's what that was because I've seen this box before. So I'm sure many of you would know Silver Beaver is the highest award that any council can give out. Depending on the size of the council, my council was a smaller council. We used to give out maybe 2 or 3 or 4 of these every year. I'm sure bigger councils give out more, but it is an award that you would kind of achieve, over many, many years of service. Not something that would just be given lightly. So that's very cool. I would have to really spend some time looking at the pennant here to figure out how old this one is, but maybe in the whole collection it'll kind of tell me the age of this, but that's cool. I like that a lot. Here's a little container full of pins and coins, things like that. Probably nothing in here too exciting. These little Cub Scout coins and stuff. And here's some, well, I mean, that's not exciting to me, but it's kind of different. This is a Cub Scout achievement medal that maybe they had just given out on the pack level if you did something, you know, I'm not sure it would have been given out for a Pinewood Derby or something like that, but it's kind of a heavy duty medal. So more year pins. See what else we got here. We got some different event patches, Cub Scouts. Here's a whole bunch of knots. So we already saw that the guy was definitely involved as an adult scouter, and so these, I think these are Webelos, or not Webelos, but Den Leader Award knots. There's a Silver Beaver knot, and then this one right here. Somebody posted in the comments. I don't have that one memorized. I don't have any idea what dark green knot on blue is. The blue is the Cub Scout color, but I don't know what the dark green knot. This is the Silver Beaver. I'm sorry, I got missed up. This is Silver Beaver. This is District Award of Merit, which you would get presumably before you got the Silver Beaver, and so those came off of a uniform. More position patches here, and then down here there are some neckerchiefs I want to get to. Oh, this is interesting. So this individual definitely went to National Camp School. You can kind of tell that here. The National Camp School patch, regular patch, and a staff patch. I'm actually going to National Camp School myself this year. I'm a summer camp director in the summer, and the way that National Camp School works is your certification is good for 5 years. Well, turns out my 5 years is up. So if I'm going to continue to be the camp director, I need to go and renew. So 77, 73 Jamboree, lots of those guys, and a couple of neckerchiefs here on the bottom. I'll see if this tells us anymore. Now there's something from 1987, so that's much more recent. Powwow staff. All right, so we're starting to see a lot of Cub Scout stuff. A powwow is a Cub Scout leader training event. And so that's probably, and here's another one, so that probably tells us what this person was really big into. And then that arrowhead, again, looks like that evergreen CSP. Maybe that is where they were doing their scouting. So 1984 powwow, 1977. So we can kind of see where this stuff was coming from. So yeah, love going through these collections and kind of seeing this stuff so that we can try to recycle it, get it back into the hands of collectors. Check out my website. Let me click over here and put this up for you guys to see. ScoutPatchCollectors.com. Over on that website, I have other videos like this, unboxing videos, content for the hobby, and it's basically my home base where I try to run everything from. So if you haven't been there, check it out, ScoutPatchCollectors.com. Again, Jason Spangler, the SanteeSwapper. Thanks for watching this video. I appreciate it very much.
All right, I hope you enjoyed that unboxing. Now it's time for our new giveaway for this week. I want to show you what I'm giving away. And then the final thing we'll have is the recorded interview with Russell Smart regarding that great Scout collection. So let me throw it up here and I'll show it to you. This is our new item. This is a weird one. I just have no explanation for who made this or where it came from. But let me hold it up here to the screen and show you exactly what I'm talking about. So I have this labeled as a 12-inch tall Eagle Scout display medal. And I've got it in the frame. I'm not going to mail you the frame, but I will mail this if you're the winner. Here's the deal. I have tried to give this away 2 times previously. In the unboxing, you heard me mention that I'm a summer camp director. And so I have gone to some camp expos and had this out and done a little thing where you enter your information in and done it a little bit manually, like draw a name out of a hat. Both times, the person that was selected never returned my emails, never got back up with me. And so this will be the 3rd time I've tried to give this away, but I've had so far very good luck with this King Simo deal. And so I'm hoping that this will be the time that I give away that medal. Again, don't have any idea where this thing came from, who made it. It's very, very interesting, very, very original. I do not think it was made by the BSA. I've never seen anything like this before. It's about 12 inches tall, but that is what I'm giving away. And all you have to do to enter to win is to go to scoutpatchcollectors.com/prize. Let me go ahead and click over to the King Sumo and I'll show you what this looks like. Right now, as I'm recording, there's about 6 days and some odd hours in the drawing. And again, name and email address. That's all you have to do if you want to enter into this prize. And then next week, I'll choose the winner, as you saw tonight, just through that King Sumo app, and then I'll reach out to the person. So I hope you join. All right, the final piece tonight is one of my favorites. Russell Smart was so gracious to come to the Charlotte Traderie and bring a wonderful display. I saw some things that I've just never seen before. I did take some still pictures of the frames that he has described, and I'll try to post these on my social media sites sometime this week so that you can see them. In this interview, he's going to be talking about the displays, but of course, if you weren't at the Charlotte Traderie, you didn't get to see them in person, and so the might be a poor substitute, but I will try to share those images as well. So I hope you enjoyed this interview with Russell Smart. It really was a fascinating discussion and just some really, really cool stuff that he brought. Hey, I'm Jason Spangler here at the Charlotte Traderie with Russell Smart, who is the chairman of the National Scouting Museum Task Force. Did I get that one right?
That's correct.
I've been practicing that.
Right.
And Russell has brought some amazing displays here of scouting memorabilia history. I wanted to get this on film. So, Russell, can you kind of tell the folks what you brought for us?
Well, we brought the Eagle Required Merit Badge display that I put together several years ago. I guess a good way to start it is to ask a trivia question.
Okay, I'll take it.
For our listeners, okay? And so the question is, what merit badge or merit badges, if any,
Right.
have always been required to earn the rank of Eagle Scout? Now, I bet you know the answer to
Well,
that.
I would guess camping and first aid.
That's the best two wrong answers.
Ah, close.
Right.
Okay. All
So
right.
the exactly right answer is none.
None. All right.
Because in the first days, the only requirement to earn the Eagle badge, which was not actually a rank, but a super badge of merit, was to earn any 21 merit badges.
Okay, cumulative altogether.
Right, all together. So, and you couldn't start until you'd earned first class. Then you could start earning merit badges. But pretty quickly, it was recognized that we needed to have some of them be common and be required. So the best wrong answer is first aid.
Okay.
Because first aid, once it was established as a required merit badge in 1914, first aid has always been required.
Okay.
Camping, on the other hand, has mostly been required, but there was a period during the 70s when we sort of urbanized scouting, and we did not require camping. It was still a merit badge. It's never ceased to be a merit badge, but
Right.
it was not one of the ones required to earn.
And that would
Eagle
be
Scout.
when Green Bar Bill kind of came back in and
Exactly.
put the camping back in and rewrote the handbook.
1979, Green Bar Bill came out of retirement to rewrite the Boy Scout handbook and put it back in the outdoors.
And the reason why I know that is because that is the book that I grew up in scouting with that cover and everything. So I appreciate Green Bar for that. So tell us a few more trivia things. I think people would be kind of curious. So you mentioned first aid.
Right.
So it's always been 21 merit badges.
It's mostly always been 21
Okay,
merit
all right,
badges.
let's get that straight.
There was a period, I think, when it was 22 briefly, then it dropped back. But most of the time it's been 21 merit badges. But the number that have been required has varied all over the place.
Right.
And that hence makes for an interesting display to look at what are the combinations of required merit badges that have been in vogue during any particular period of time. And by my count, there have been more than 20 different iterations of combinations of merit badges that have been required or alternates.
Right.
And oftentimes, still today, as you know, we have three of the 21 badges are in an alternate thing. You can earn environmental science or sustainability. You can earn emergency preparedness or life-saving. And you can earn swimming, hiking, or cycling, one of those three.
Right.
So you get to pick even some options within the 21 required. That hasn't always been the case, but oftentimes during the history, there have been alternatives that could be earned. So more than 20 different iterations, and then the merit badges themselves have changed in
multiple
style,
times,
as
yeah.
you know,
Cloth and
from the
everything.
cloth, from the early square ones in the teens that were big 3-inch squares, and then 2-inch squares, and then it went to the wide crimped and narrow crimped, and then on through to fully embroidered and twill, and so there've been all kind of combinations of merit badges as well.
Well, I know that people that are not here are going to wonder, how about that first Eagle Scout medal?
Yeah, what about that?
Yeah, what about that? That was the showstopper for us.
Right. So T.H. Foley Company of New York was contracted to make the first medals for the Eagle Scout, and many folks know that the original design that was shown in the handbook was a flying eagle,
totally different
design. And then when Arthur Eldred had his board of review to become the first Eagle Scout, the medal had not actually even been produced at that point. He did not actually receive his medal until many months later, and there's a really good article about that in one of the ISCA journals from a few years back. But so he was approved, and then the medal had to be produced.
Yeah.
And so when it was actually produced, the eagle was not flying, but more in the stationary position.
Yeah.
And that has remained constant. If you look at the Foley Eagle Medal, of which there are only a few hundred were produced and presented, then the Degas and Cluse Medal, which came next, which were about 1,600 were produced of those, and then the Rob and Stangy and Custom Fine Jewelry and all of those have been producers of merit badge, of the Eagle badge. But they all essentially look the same, but the details vary drastically between the engraving and the stamping of the dies that the birds were made out of. And then of course they were silver.
Right,
in the early
sterling
days.
silver.
And then when the Hunt brothers tried to corner the silver market back in the early 70s, then the DSA shifted from a silver eventually to the rhodium that we have. But you can still get a silver one. Did you know that?
That's an extra catalog item. It's just an upcharge.
Yes, it is. There's an upcharge, but you can still purchase an actual silver Eagle medal if you wish.
Well, I was saying, you have visited my warehouse, and I presented you dozens and dozens of Eagle medals. Just like you say, they all look so familiar. I did not have the eye for it to tell what was a Robbins and what was a this and a that. So I really appreciate you going through and telling me those. They're beautiful. But the other thing you have here is a drop eagle, which I think very few people know anything about. Tell us what a drop eagle is. What's the story there?
Well, it's well documented that Arthur Eldred, many folks know that name. Not too many know that Earl Marks from Jacksonville, Florida, was the second Eagle Scout, but the fourth Eagle Scout is a notable one. There was a gentleman, Sidney Clapp, who had a troop in the Northeast area in New York, and Mr. Clapp was working with some of his boys to achieve the Eagle Scout badge. And in those days, and up until 1965, an adult could also earn an Eagle Scout award. Mainly to set the example for the boys. It was never a thing of just personal achievement, but it was a good way to set the example, to earn the badges with them and work with them. So Mr. Clapp and 4 of his scouts all finished the requirements to achieve the rank of Eagle, and they all had a board of review on the same night.
Wow.
And Mr. Clapp went first. And then the 4 boys went in order. There were 2 brothers and then 2 other young men. So Mr. Clapp and his 4 scouts are the 4th, 5th, 6th, 7th, and 8th Eagle Scouts that were ever approved and went through the national office. And so Mr. Clapp was the first adult. And so to honor that, a special medal was given to him, which you can probably put a close-up picture in there for benefit of everybody. And so his has not only the red, white, and blue ribbon that we're all familiar with, but a separate, longer red, white, and blue ribbon that is in behind the medal and the other ribbon. Sometimes we refer to that as a drop ribbon. I don't frankly know why the derivation of that word or why it's used, but that drop ribbon behind the bird and the other ribbon makes his unique as the first Eagle Scout. And I was fortunate enough to obtain that a couple of years ago now, and so have that on display. I think the thing that makes it really cool, though, was Mr. Clapp at that moment also held the record for the most merit badges because he had finished the requirements working with his 4 boys. He had finished the requirements for 31 merit badges, he had the board of review for all of those merit badges the same night that they had the board of review for the Eagle Award. And so all of the 31 merit badge cards came with the Eagle medal, not the badges, sadly, or the sash.
Yeah.
And there wasn't really sashes in those days. They, you know, they wore them on the uniform.
Where would you fit 31? That would be a
Oh,
lot.
I don't know that you could, right?
That'd be a lot.
But Mr. Clapp, for a long time, held the record of the most merit badges earned at 31. And so all of the cards are dated the same date in November of 1912.
How about that?
The night they had that board of review.
And
then later, he stayed involved in scouting and later received a Silver Beaver Award from his local council. And so I have that as well.
And that was in the 30s that the Silver Beaver
Right.
started? Okay. And we were talking about this earlier too. Heinz 57. There were 57 original merit
57
badges.
original merit badges. And today, by my count, and it's, you know, kind of arguable because some of them have morphed into other badges, and like many of the agricultural badges morphed into a single badges related to farming.
Right.
Many of the ones dealing with animals morphed into a single badge called animal industry. But if you track all those and you accept my interpretation of the morphing,
Right.
44 of those 57 original merit badges, you can still earn something that is either similar to, identical to, or some transition of those first 44. But 13 of them are gone.
And give us an example of an interesting one of the 13.
Blacksmithing.
Blacksmithing, okay.
Right, an invention that is,
Oh.
you know, iconic.
Yeah.
That came back briefly, you know, during 2010 as a special badge with different requirements, but it's gone.
Okay.
All right.
Yeah. That's a great story.
Yeah.
Well, thank you for bringing all
You're
this.
welcome.
I'll take pictures of this, and obviously in the video we'll pop it up so everyone can see
Good.
it.
Well, thank you.
Thank you.
Always a pleasure.
Good.
All right. Well, I hope you enjoyed that interview with Russell Smart as much as I did, seeing all of his wonderful stuff. And again, I will try to put up some pictures on social media this week of his displays so that everyone can see that. So again, if you go back to the website, you can find that. I want to encourage you to leave comments and send me feedback as well. This is the 4th episode of this show, and certainly I'm still not only figuring out this platform of StreamYard, but also figuring out what is the direction to go and what do people really want to see. So feel free to leave comments, whether it be on Facebook, YouTube, or even just sending me, your emails, things like that. I do appreciate it. Thanks very much, Jason Spangler, the SanteeSwapper, wrapping up episode 4 of Scouting Hot Finds Live. Thanks for watching.